Good morning, everyone. Guys, this morning I want to lead with the state of emergency that's just been declared in Russia. So for those of you who don't know, the Ukrainians have made a push into Russia, and from what I can gather online, although things are it's very difficult to understand what's actually happened. The Ukrainians have managed to push 1,000 Ukrainian soldiers into Russian territory, basically, and they've pushed in 10 miles. Now, President Vladimir Putin's come out and he's declared a state of emergency. Now, guys, these two countries are at war. You can't point the finger and tell either of these countries that what they're doing is, yes, everything's wrong and we should, and the war should stop. But Vladimir Putin can't come out and, complain that the Ukrainians are provoking them into some bigger military action, because the reality is, this war's been going on since 2014. Russia have taken a lot of the Ukrainian ground, and the Ukrainians are now, I think, it's clear that the Ukrainians are finding their own situation such that they have their capacity to push back and to take ground in Russia. Now, however significant that is, it's kind of doesn't really matter. It's more symbolic at this point. But what I will say, in that region, there's a large, I think it's a gas oil separation plant. In fact, let me read you the article, guys, and then I'll put this in the description. Ukraine-Russia latest. Putin briefed as Kiev border incursion forces Russia to declare a state of emergency. Russia has declared a state of emergency in its Kursk region amid fierce fighting as Ukrainian forces penetrate its southern hub near a major gas transmission hub. Sorry, not a gas transmission. So, as the gas would come in from the main processing plant, it would then be split off, and I believe that's where it is. Moscow's military chief Valery Garagazimov briefed President Vladimir Putin that Russian forces had halted a thrust, I'm sure they're using provocative words here, guys, by up to 1,000 Ukrainian soldiers, more than 3 times the figure that Russia's defense ministry stated on Tuesday, and would push them back to the border. Now, I would assume that this is heavily mechanized not mechanized. I'd say they had a lot of vehicles, a lot of fast, high mobility vehicles with this. Yesterday, the Russian official claimed about 300 Ukrainian soldiers had entered Kursk. A state of emergency was declared by the acting governor of Kursk. Neither Kiev nor President Volodymyr Zelensky have made any reference to the attack, while exhorting Kiev soldiers to press on and weaken Russian forces. So it's interesting that none of the Ukrainians have come out and said anything about this attack. I know there's a lot of things swirling saying it's, the United States, it's the French, it's mercenaries. I don't think that's the case at all, guys, alright? The reason I don't think that's the case is because if any of these guys were to be captured, if the mission was to go wrong, there's so many things that could go wrong there if, foreign troops, and, by foreign, I mean, not Ukrainian troops entered Ukraine. It would be, it would be catastrophic. So I do think this was done by Ukrainian troops. But the US-based think tank, the Institute for the Study of War, said Ukrainian forces have made confirmed advances up to 10 kilometers, not miles, into Kursk Oblast. So an Oblast region, it would be like, for example, you've got Manchester and Greater Manchester. The Oblast would be the surrounding area, not the city. 10 kilometers into Kursk Oblast amid continued mechanized offensive operations on Russian territory yesterday. I'm not sure what they mean by mechanized there, guys. I may be wrong, but I don't think you would take tracked vehicles to do such an, a surge operation. You would need fast vehicles, but, who knows? Who knows what they're doing out there, guys? So that's what's been happening in Ukraine. Yesterday, Ukraine invaded. Yeah, that's just the same article. Now then, guys, also with the I'm going to talk about the UK riots now, and then I'm going to talk about what's been happening with Israel and Iran. So with the riots yesterday, check out my last 2 videos. I'll post them. I'll put a link to them at the end. So, like everyone else, I saw this list of the locations of where these protests were planned, and I was like, wow, that is a very sophisticated list. You know, they'd listed legal companies, they'd listed NGOs, they'd listed, by NGOs I mean offices of NGOs and their locations. You know, they'd listed places where people can apply for visa, they'd all sorts of stuff, guys, and it was really comprehensive. And I looked at this list and I thought, wow, that's not been done overnight. Somebody's not put this together overnight on a computer. This has been planned for quite a while. So I thought, this is going to happen. Anyway, as the day went on, I started thinking about logistics, and then it came out that there was 100 of these protests planned. I was just like, no, I don't think this is going to happen at all. So I did another video. I said, guys, look, I don't think anyone's going to turn up for these protests, as in, I don't think any protesters are going to turn up now. And they didn't. I did a video before it was all to kick off saying this, so it's all there, guys, public record. What I think we saw was a huge psyop, in the sense that it was a psychological operation to gain and ascertain information. So whoever's planning these protests, these, anti-migration protests, whatever you want to brand them as, whoever's planning them, they obviously have a good intelligence network, because that list that they put out, guys, it was pre-planned. You can't pick up one of those lists and put together one of those lists that comprehensively in a couple of days. It just doesn't work like that. I also saw, in my original video, yesterday morning, I said the next step would be to target and protest outside MPs' houses, outside the actual, rather than protesting outside the legal firm's house, outside the partners of those legal companies, outside the people, and that would take these protests to another level. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know if it's in the, if it's in the books. But I think the way these protests are being planned at the moment, they really are being planned with military precision. Now, so what did we have last night? We had thousands of people go out on the streets. They wasted their own money. They wasted their own time. And I know one of you guys put in the comments yesterday that they don't feel that they wasted their own time. And I get that, people think that, people will go down there and they think they'll keep going down there. But not everybody feels the same way. You will get a core of... You will get a core of people... Sorry guys, I had a message coming. You will get a core of people that will go down no matter what. But then you'll get a core of people who are like, yeah, we're going to go down, we're going to show these protesters, and we're going to resist them. And then they're like, oh, right, I've been down twice already and nobody shows up, and, I've missed 2 days of work and my boss is upset, and, I've got to take the kids to the swimming baths, and you know what, I'm not going to come down. And you see where I'm going, guys? It grinds people down, and people just don't, eventually, if this keeps happening, the boy cried wolf, if this keeps happening, the counter-protesters will just give up, and they will, guys, right? They'll give up. Then nobody's going to keep counter-protesting if there's no protest. It's a little bit embarrassing. Anyway, that's that. What you've also seen in the UK, and I can't believe how draconian the UK have come down on this. They've come down on people. I think, there was, the Minister for Digital, I don't know, the Minister for Online Affairs or whatever. I don't know if that's his title. But it was basically UK Minister, and he's saying now, if you share things that other people, if you share footage of these protests, then you could go to jail. Now, this is terrifying, guys, right? Because I was under the impression, and obviously I must be wrong, if there's any legal experts out there, guys, let me know. I was under the impression that you could go and watch, anyone could go and watch these riots or protests, whatever, anyone could go and see them with their own eyes. For example, if there was a protest in John O'Groats at the other end of Scotland, if I wanted, I could get in my car right now, I could drive up there and I could watch, and I could watch that, and that'd be fine. Now, what is the difference then in somebody filming something on their phone and streaming it or putting that online and me watching it and going up and watching it yourself with your own eyes? You see, I thought the whole argument behind, you know, the mass implementation of CCTV cameras around the UK was just that, was saying, well, you know, we could have had a police officer stood there and he could watch this and that'd be totally legal, so that's why we put the CCTV camera up. So I don't see the, you know, the duality of these laws. Guys, maybe I'm just misunderstanding them. Maybe there's something else there that I'm not seeing, but that's the understanding that I've got. So the fact that we're, you know, there's a huge crackdown on people sharing little, you know, tweets and stuff online, and when there's actual crimes being committed, you know, physical crimes being committed against people, property, you know, it just seems, you know, it seems a little bit, it seems very strange that this is happening. Maybe I've misunderstood the law, and again, I don't really have social media, I just have this on our other platform, but we are going to get an X account, guys, so I'll put that, when I get that, I'll put that in the description. So, I don't really see where that's going. I don't see the legitimacy in that, because it's kind of contradicting the argument of putting all the CCTV cameras up, but I don't know, guys. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but who knows. Anyway, finally, guys, Israel and Iran. So Israel said to believe Hezbollah will respond before Iran. So Israel have come out now and they've said, you know, if you go and do a search for Israel and Israel preparations and what's happening in Israel and try, you know, and see what's happening, you know, most people in, well, I'd say everyone actually, everyone in Israel is expecting a huge attack from Iran, from Hamas, from Hezbollah, and they're expecting it anytime soon. The Americans have come out and they're putting diplomatic pressure on Iran not to attack Israel. But Israel have come out now and they've said they would expect Hezbollah to attack first. For those of you who don't know, Hezbollah is to the north of Israel. And again, what this means, we don't know. Could it be that they're going to attack them first, so the Israelis use up all their Iron Dome rockets and overwhelm their system, and then the Iranians attack? Does that mean it's going to be a staged attack, as in Hezbollah would attack first, then Hamas would attack, and then Iran would attack? Guys, we don't know, but what we can be almost 100% certain of, there will be a response from Iran. You've got to look at it from the side of Iran and the culture in Iran. If they don't respond, they're going to look weak domestically, because they've said they're going to respond. They've vowed to avenge this guy. You know, so if you do all these, you know, if you make all these grand gestures and these huge speeches with, you know, biblical words in them, and you do nothing, you look weak against your in front of your domestic audience, I guess. Guys, that's it for this morning. No doubt there'll be further developments through the day. Guys, just look after yourself, stay safe, and I'm going to mag to grid.